pipe and will eliminate and prevent limescale in all pipes, appliances, and fixtures permanently. For more information, visit fixhardwaternow.com. That's fixhardwaternow.com.
Blue Monarch Project and KCAA Smart Health Talk want to support making new Monarch memories with our children possible with a weekly pesticide-free plant sale, because you can't have Monarch caterpillars without milkweed. Add Sunday 11 to 5 Redlands Tri-City parking lot and 1378 Industrial Park Avenue to your calendar, and come and see us.
Whether you swing a hickory shaft Massey Niblick or the latest titanium hybrid, golf is your game, and the Boy Scouts need you. To be specific, the California Inland Empire Council of the Boy Scouts of America need your help in joining them for their 10th annual Golf Classic at Los Serranos Golf Club in Chino Hills on Friday, August 10th. A continental breakfast and a lunch are included, and we tee off at 7:45 a.m. Proceeds will help to offer young people responsible fun and adventure.
If you or a loved one was seriously injured in an accident with a semi-truck or an 18-wheeler truck, you need to act fast. I'm attorney Daniel Rudbari. I know how to fight truck companies. Call me 800-325-1454 for your free consultation. 800-325-1454. Truck accident cases are different than an auto versus auto accident. There are so many more issues involved when dealing with a truck accident case. There are federal regulations and state regulations, several different companies that may be involved. I can immediately gather the evidence, get you the medical care you need with no deductible and no copay to you, and get you the compensation and the money you deserve for your injuries. And if there's no recovery, there's no fees charged to you. I'm attorney Daniel Rudbari. I know how to fight truck companies. Call me 800-325-1454 for your free consultation. 800-325-1454.
Look around your office. Is it time to change things up? Start a new home office or reorganize your professional office space? Visit Office Furniture Outlet in Corona and you'll feel great. With a huge inventory of both new and pre-owned office furniture, you can buy, sell, or even trade to get the job done. Office Furniture Outlet in Corona will get you looking and feeling good, and that simply means success and great business results. From executive office collections to home office options, you can find exactly what you need at an affordable price. Office Furniture Outlet. They have desk selections that range from modern and contemporary to traditional and elegant. With a large selection of sizes, finishes, and styles, you can design an office just the way you need it. An office you can be proud of. The Office Furniture Outlet in Corona is just south of the 91 freeway in McKinley at 284 DuPont Street, or visit OFOUSA.com. That's OFOUSA.com for the Office Furniture Outlet in Corona today.
You're listening to KCAA, your good neighbor along the way.
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Right before me, my newfound hippie side. Once ignored these conspiracies online. Out the window, visions of the earth. Sign me up now, make sure you use your smart. Take a walk on the wild side. Will the birds and the bees survive? Would your children lie to see Mother Nature's side?
Welcome to Smart Health Talk with your host, Elaine McFadden.
Welcome, everyone. This is Smart Health Talk Radio Show, and yeah, I'm a dietitian, but I'm not that boring kind of dietitian. No, I'm really actually a very fun dietitian that wants you to eat lots of yummy, good things. And, of course, we can only recommend organic because we've talked to too many scientists about the dangers of pesticide and how they cause cancer and endocrine disruptors. And I mean, actually bind minerals in the soil so that it's not in the food. So we're talking deficiency diseases, and that's right up my alley as a registered dietitian. And so when I hear those kind of things and I know the importance of different nutrients and find out, oh, those pesticides bind it in the soil, I get kind of worried about people's health. And how are you feeling today anyway? Are you feeling exactly how you want to feel? I mean, are you dependent? How many people out there that are listening are dependent on something or else they would die? How many people are dependent on a drug that without that drug, they're going to die? A lot of people have become dependent in so many different ways. And guess who loves it more than anybody? That's right. The drug companies. Boy, do they love it when we're dependent on their drugs. And what are we hearing in the news right now? Oh, we're hearing about immigration. And you may think, Elaine, wait a minute. You were just talking about drug companies. Why are you talking about immigration in the next breath? Oh, well, maybe because they're directly related. That's right. What do I hear on television about immigration? Oh, we're blaming the parents. Oh, those horrible parents. If they would not have been bringing their children over the border, we would not be separating them, which is a new policy, by the way, that never existed before until April. I don't know where the president's coming up with these things, except that he's trying to distract and take away responsibility for himself. I would like to see a president actually takes responsibility for his actions and not just the ones that he gets praised for. But anyway, unfortunately, that is not, a lot of what he's talking about is not true. And a lot of what people are being accused of related to immigration is also not true. And why are these people coming from Mexico? Oh, everyone thinks it's because, oh, America's so great. Everybody wants to live here. Okay, well, how many people really want to uproot themselves and leave everything that they grew up with, all their family, and come to a new country where they know no one, they have no money? Why do you really think that they're coming here? Because they just think it's going to be so great here as far as making money? Did you ever think that maybe there might be another ulterior motive? How about their lives are threatened? Did we ever think about that one? I notice when people talk about this, they're like, oh, back in 2014, we had like a big influx of people coming. Well, maybe because they were like shooting up and killing people on the streets down in Mexico. Oh, it wasn't that long ago we found a grave with 50 students buried in it, a mass grave. Why were those 50 students killed and buried? Because they tried to protest against the drug cartels. Yes, drug cartels. And when we're talking immigration from Mexico, if we're not talking drug cartels, then we're not talking the right kind of language. But I'll tell you something that's missing from the conversation that you don't get from television, but you get from KCAA Talk Radio. Because, you know, we talk the truth here. You can always depend on that. Not like other stations where big-name celebrities are now leaving because they don't agree with the way the news is being presented. We bring it to you. We research before we go around talking stuff here. We make sure that we're bringing you the truth. And when it comes to immigration, these people are coming here because they are seeking asylum. They're scared for their lives. We have went down there. The United States, let's take some responsibility. This is not the first time. What do you think the whole Contra hearings were and Ollie North and all that? Because we went down there and we manipulated their government. We manipulated the propaganda that was being said. You know, I just watched that Tom Cruise movie where he was the drug smuggler. That as soon as he got busted, CIA had him doing what? Smuggling drugs. That's what he's doing in that movie. The CIA has him smuggling drugs. Why? Because that's how the CIA makes money on the side. That's right. The CIA is smuggling drugs. They're caught down there causing all kinds of upheaval because we want to put our guy in. When there's some guy running a government that doesn't agree with the United States, we say, oh, we're going to get rid of you and we're going to replace him with someone that we want. Hey, guess what? The guy down running Iran right now, that's our guy. That's right. We put that guy in. We took the Shah out and we put him in. Oh, but we're not happy with him. Why did we get extreme? Because we took the other guy out. You know, and this is the way things work over and over again. We take the people out, and the new guy that comes in ends up being some sort of extreme kind of person. All these people are killed. They took out El Chapo. All the little drug gangs were all fighting for power, and hundreds of people died until some guy rose to the top, replaced El Chapo, and now people aren't dying. But why do we even have people being killed right in the streets? Why do we have 50 students being killed and buried for speaking up against these cartels? Because the cartels are the problem. The drugs are the problem. The real problem is the United States and our appetite for drugs. If we did not have an appetite for drugs, there would be no problem. And guess what the other problem is? It's illegal. You know, when we make this stuff legal, everyone's like, oh my gosh, if we make it illegal, all our kids are going to have access to it. Think about this for a minute. Think about alcohol. Remember Prohibition? Who was in control when we made it alcohol illegal? Who became in control of the alcohol? Oh, Al Capone, the gangsters, the mobsters. You had to go buy your alcohol from those people. How is that so different than marijuana? And how, pray tell, is cocaine lower on the scale than marijuana? I mean, how many people out there have tried both? And how many people would say, oh yeah, cocaine's definitely a softer drug than marijuana. You don't get addicted to cocaine like marijuana. Let's just break it down a little bit on like how they make cocaine to begin with. Oh, let's see. There's several cancer-causing chemicals involved in the purification of coca leaves to cocaine. And over in Colombia, oh, they chew on coca leaves for a reason, because they're up at, 7,000 feet, something like that, and there's hardly any oxygen in their body, and so if they don't chew coca leaves, when they eat, all the blood goes to their stomach, and they can't even act normally anymore. They can't think normally, and they're at risk of hurting themselves. So chewing coca leaves actually keeps all the blood from leaving the brain and going to the stomach during digestion. And that's just chewing on pick the coca leaf off the coca plant and you chew on it. Not some product that has went through multiple purification processes using multiple harmful carcinogenic chemicals to create a purified form. That's number one reason why I wouldn't want to put cocaine in my body at this point in time. Lots smarter now than I was a long time ago. That's why I feel like I can tell you from experience, there is no way that marijuana is anywhere close to cocaine. And the drug companies are loving the drug war. The drug war we have spent billions of dollars on, and guess what? That little needle, as far as like the percentage of the people that are doing drugs, hasn't moved. No, things are worse now than more than ever. Now we have opium addicts. And like we mentioned last week, people think, oh yeah, oh those poppies. And then I just saw another one. Oh, they're blaming Mexico for the poppies. Oh yeah, that's like a big part of the problem with the heroin is that, most of these products, like what Prince died from, is merely a synthetic form of an opium alkaloid. There was no opium poppy involved in that drug, okay? They have learned how to synthetically reproduce these things. Just think about it. Why would they want to have to pay for opium from poppies when they could make it themselves with, chemicals and GMO bacteria in giant vats that are fermenting. They purify the extract, and voila, insulin and all kinds of drugs. And that's how a lot of them are made nowadays. So, they said they're really close. These last couple of alkaloids that they need for morphine and codeine, they're very, very difficult because they're very complex. It involves a lot of different enzymes, and it's the same reason they can't reproduce what's in aloe vera that makes it so healing, because it's so complicated. There are so many things involved, but they sure have learned to recreate some of those other ones, haven't they? And they're loving it. They love black market even. They pay. They have representatives that pay doctors to write more prescriptions, to recommend drugs to their patients when they don't even need it. I stood there and watched a doctor try to push drugs on my significant other, and with no justification as a registered dietitian that I could see. There was no baseline to even measure by to see if that drug had been effective. So I know firsthand that this is being done. But the bottom line is, we have children being separated. Just think, if you were a parent where you were being threatened, I just saw one report where they had a food vendor. This is like a guy selling fruits and vegetables, okay? And they got people coming and extorting money. You pay us for protection, okay? You're paying us for protection. They got people extorting money, say, we're going to beat you up if you don't pay us. And he finally stood up to them, just like those students. Said, I'm not going to do it. They shot him dead right in the street. Shot him dead. When you're facing, those kind of threats, we're going to kill you, you can't stand up, you have to, put up with these people threatening you day after day, watching entire families being killed. The threat is real. And when people come here for asylum, they can be granted asylum inside the United States or at a port of entry. Our government is using these kids to try to get what they want. They want a wall. It's ridiculous. The wall is not going to protect us. Drones, maybe, but a wall, no. And just the maintenance of that wall is just unbelievable. We got high-tech stuff right around the corner. We do not need a wall. And this whole thing of the threat is something we created. We created by going down there with our CIA, allowing our CIA to traffic drugs and guns and make money off of it on the side and get away with it, just like in the Tom Cruise movie. That's what they did in the Contras. They pumped out propaganda from a fake radio station. We are doing this. This is how the U.S. works. This is how we roll, people. Let's take responsibility for what we're doing, for our actions, what we've created. We've made all this illegal. If we made it legal, just like alcohol, you remember that used to be illegal. Actually, all these other drugs used to be legal. Then we made alcohol illegal, and it proved it's all taken over by the drug company. By the gangs and the hoodlums and the cartels. So when we stop having an appetite for drugs and stop demanding that Mexico make us more cocaine for our cocaine habit, and get off of the prescription drugs, start getting out and exercising and quit eating so much and get your weight down so you don't even need diabetes medication anymore. Who knows what could happen? You like being dependent on these big companies to supply you with a drug and letting them manipulate your body? I don't want any of these companies in my body. I don't want them manipulating my body with their drugs, controlling my mind. No, I don't want my life dependent on them. When I have a choice to take control of my life and take control of my body and my health and start feeling good again, not because of some pill that I took, okay? And if you want to not be depressed, start working out. Start eating healthy. Your life will change Go out and do some community service. Give back. Do some good things. You will start to feel better. Just like our beautiful little monarch butterfly that we have here. If you tune in to KCAARadio.com, you can see us right here in the station. I've got a guest coming on. We're going to be talking about Zika virus. For one thing, there's a big propaganda campaign that's funded by multi-billion dollars from the government that it is totally fake from all the research that I have done and what I've heard back from other people. This is a perfect example on how the taxpayers are being ripped off for a non-existent problem that is created solely by the government and big corporations controlling our government. So is that how we want to keep on going? Do we want to be manipulated at this level, or do we want to start taking action? Okay, so in case you're wondering why I have a monarch butterfly right here next to me, it's because we have a project called Blue Monarch Project. Please go check it out, bluemonarchproject.com. Those of you that live in the Inland Empire area, we have plants without pesticides, grown without chemicals. Please go and check out our website, Blue Monarch Project. You can reach out to us there. You can order, we'll deliver. You can order online. We have actually a lot more than we have listed on our website, but why don't you invite us to come out to your event and bring our plans so that we can help have more monarchs. We've actually released over a dozen just in the past week, and we released over 600 last year. And I saw 4 monarchs in one place on the corner of my yard for the first time ever. It was so exciting. I just saw a swallowtail as I got in my car to come over here. So it shows that our program is actually working, and we could really use support because we need lots more pots and soil for our milkweed plants and seed. So we could really use any kind of help, whether you purchase products or make a donation at Blue Monarch Project. We have, like we said, we have a guest coming up. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be back with our guest, Tiffany Anderson. What you get when you tune in to Smart Health Talk radio show every Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We want our listeners armed with the latest information, no matter who we have to call out in the process. No corporate cloaking, no repeats of what you've already heard over and over. We bring what you're not getting from other shows. We're looking for what's having an impact on Americans' lives every day and into the future. I'm your host, Elaine McFadden. I'd like to invite you to learn with us. We're always there with podcasts and videos on KCAA YouTube and iHeartRadio, or live on KCAA Radio, 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time every Tuesday.
If you're looking for a full or part-time sales position and you have radio, TV, or print media experience, KCAA has a great opportunity waiting for you that pays the highest commissions in the market. KCAA is the only station in the IE that broadcasts on 3 frequencies, so advertisers receive 3 ads for 1 low rate. This makes KCAA a must-buy for every local business. If you're interested in a sales position with us, email CEO@KCAARadio.com.
KCAA.
Blue Monarch Project and KCAA Smart Health Talk want to support making new monarch memories with our children possible with a weekly pesticide-free plant sale, because you can't have monarch caterpillars without milkweed. Add Sunday 11 to 5, Redlands Tri-City parking lot and 1378 Industrial Park Avenue to your calendar, and come and see us.
KCAA.
Hey, we're back, everyone, and I just wanted to add to our comments on immigration. You know, we were talking about people seeking asylum from violence in their country. They're not necessarily coming here because we're just so great. Even though, yeah, you know, it's nice here in America, but to tell you the truth, the Mexico that I used to visit 40 years ago, I loved. I loved going there. I would have so much fun going to the beaches and shopping, and you can't even go there anymore because there's so much violence and it's so scary. You can't even go and enjoy Mexico and feel safe anymore. And I just think that's really, really sad. And it all comes down to the drug cartels and our appetite for drugs. But we have to, I just would like everyone to think about this. When people were fleeing the Holocaust, when the Nazis were imprisoning Jews, killing them for being Jew, no other reason. do we turn them away? Do we turn people fleeing the Holocaust away? How is what's happening in Mexico so different? And you know, when we keep calling these people criminals, that is a misdemeanor when you come over the border for the first time. And if I was a mother and my child was taken from them and I don't know who's touching them, changing their clothes, cleaning them, we have a handful of social service people that are overwhelmed. They cannot even get all the work done. I would be extremely, extremely upset. You just think about, you know, if that was like happening to you. And just think about yourself in a place like that with all that violence. And what are your choices? You're in a town where they're threatening your life. And it could be just because you're a fruit and vegetable vendor. And you are standing up saying, I won't pay your extortion money anymore. You know, these are not hardened criminals, people. They are not. And human traffickers, yeah, I'm sure there's a percentage of those. And we definitely got to get those people. But, you know, they're saying, oh, well, these people don't have enough information. They don't have enough documentation. Well, guess what? When you're really poor, you don't have everything. And when you're running for your life, you know, you can only bring so many things with you. And then when these people go to court asking for asylum, they deny them. They say, oh, it's, you know, a lot of them, it's just frivolous, or they don't show up at court. And actually, Wolf Blitzer pointed out that they're trying to say 80% don't show back up at court, when actually it's something like 10 to 29% that don't show back up at court. So that 80% is not even true. These people are whipping off statistics that are not true. And, you know, the people that they want to get asylum, you know, and the only reason they wouldn't go back to court is they know that they're going to lose. And they're like, oh, well, they're just told what to say. Well, of course, anyone going to court is told what to say. You have to be careful. Everything you say, because they'll take one thing out of context. But the problem is, how do you prove? How do you prove that your life was threatened? How do you prove that these people want to kill you? I know that there's been a report of people that have been sent back that were murdered once they got back. That's probably why they left. So we have to decide, you know, how we're going to be handling all this. But what's going on right now is obviously not the right way. But we have got to come to terms with immigration and just come up with a system that is fair, because we can't be turning away everyone that is being threatened in a situation that the United States created. We really have to think about that one. So we have Tiffany on the line. Oh, I'm sorry. What? Oh, video. Oh, she's on Skype. So that makes it even greater to tune in to KCAARadio.com, because you get to see myself and Tiffany. And Tiffany worked for the San Joaquin Vector Department, and we've been doing a series with her because, to me, the Vector Department is the source of so many exposures to pesticides that and the thing is, this is something we don't control. They're making the decisions, and the way they're making the decisions and the oversight for these departments is pretty much limited to a board of trustees that is not sitting there questioning what is being done. Instead, they are there to help assist in doing things against the protocol set up by the government for reporting accidents, for follow-up, by notifying OSHA. How many people out there are being exposed like this? When I saw a landscaper out working in a yard, I asked him, I said, are you going to be spraying Roundup? And he said, yes. And I said, okay, where do you work? And so I called up the landscaping company, and I asked him, I said, you know this is on the Prop 65 list as cancer causing. Why are you exposing your employees? And, you know, please don't. But here a couple of days later, he was out there spraying Roundup. So the employers are not caring about their employees and what they are being exposed to. And this is the same at the Vector Department, but this isn't the only case where we're talking about like golf course superintendents that are in charge of entire golf courses, and they are spraying pesticides like you wouldn't believe on golf courses, some of the worst of the worst. And they, their organization is in bed with the pesticide companies. Well, when we look at Vector departments, we see the very same thing is true. Those are big time sponsors of big events that they have. And I want to introduce Tiffany and get her on, because I want to get back. We've actually touched on that a little bit, some of the events that these people from the Vector department go to. Tiffany, are you there?
I'm here.
Hey, Tiffany. Tiffany Anderson, everyone, and she's a whistleblower from San Joaquin Vector department. And I was just going into the sponsors because I did since we talked the last time, Tiffany. Do you have the video on the screen? I'm sorry. I was just talking to the engineer.
Okay.
Yeah, since we talked the last time, I did some research into the organization for the superintendents of golf. There's like a whole professional organization that the maintenance people that use all the pesticides on golf courses. And it's just obvious that it's I don't see anything.
What do you know about?
No. I'm sorry. You thought we were going to play the video. Okay, we're going to go ahead and play the video from the. This is Zika is something. Let me just do a little intro here. Zika is something that the government is trying to scare us with. And we're going to talk, Tiffany and I are going to talk a little bit. She's going to talk her side. I'm going to talk my side on the Zika thing. Those of us in California are now getting commercials from the pesticide department or public health department, because they're trying to create this
fear.
problem, this fear, with this commercial. Go ahead and play that, Blake.
What do you know about Zika? The Zika virus is spread through the bite of an infected mosquito or sex with an infected partner. It poses a serious risk to you, your family, California, and especially to a pregnant woman's developing baby. While there is no treatment or vaccine, you can stay protected. Visit ZikaFreeCA.com to learn how. And don't bring Zika home. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Okay.
When
I analyze that commercial, I'm watching it, Tiffany. One of did you hear at the very end they said that you can still protect yourself?
I couldn't hear the commercial at all.
You couldn't hear it. Okay. At one point it says you can still there is no vaccine, because we delegated $20 billion federal dollars to a Zika vaccine. And they,
what a coincidence, because when there was West Nile, there was no vaccine as well. So it's funny how they create the problem, they also have the solution. And
you just brought up a really important thing, Tiffany, and I did not think about that. The fact that how come we have not asked for any vaccine on West Nile virus?
And Elaine, let me point something out to you. As a pesticide applicator, I was sent out into. You brought up golf courses, but one of the big things we have out here, we're agriculture, and so we have duck clubs, and a lot of the employees actually would go to these duck clubs in their free time, and so it's kind of like a good old boys club out here, and so it's so self-serving what they do. Everything they do is self-serving. I was assigned the duck clubs out west of I-5, and when they had meetings, I wasn't even allowed to go to them. So it was my territory, and the manager would go meet with the guys, and they would do whatever it was they were doing, and the person who was there to monitor that area wasn't even invited to the meetings. So clearly they weren't talking about mosquitoes or my job, or else I would have been present.
Well, the fact that they excluded you at all when that was your territory, that right there is, I mean, and it how did it affect you as an employee, Tiffany? I mean, how did that make you feel when you were being excluded like that, just personally?
It was angering to the point. I mean, that was just the beginning. I mean, that was before I was even a whistleblower. That was when they liked me. When they didn't like me, it got ugly. It got very ugly. And so when we talk about dealing, where I was going with this was, there was a point. So I'd be out in the islands, and that would create, the islands, they would actually create lots of mosquitoes intentionally. And so I asked, if I got West Nile, would I have work for, if I had West Nile from doing this job, would I have medical care? And I was told no. So,
because they're, about all they can do is, and the thing is, if you have a flu shot, and you can have a false positive because it's the same kind of aflovirus. It's the same test for the flu versus West Nile virus or the dengue or Zika. And so that's why, that they get these, you can't even really be sure someone had it because if they had a flu shot, because it could be a false positive. And the fact that we're now more than ever, like, you got me thinking the fact that, because the West Nile virus is like supposed to be way bigger than Zika, right? And why has there never been any request for a vaccine for that? Because the fact that we have delegated $20 billion of taxpayer money to a Zika vaccine, and the fact that vaccine, that virus, Zika virus, is owned by the Rockefellers. I mentioned this last week.
Wow. But I was the one who brought up the Rockefellers, but wow, that's.
But they have a patent on like Zika virus. So the fact that we went for the vaccine for Zika virus, but not West Nile virus, really makes me, because I want to know, does anyone have a patent on like West Nile virus? Probably not. But the fact that the Rockefellers have a patent on Zika virus, and we delegate $20 billion for a vaccine.
We should be suing the Rockefellers for spreading a virus.
Well,
so you have this entity who's creating a problem, then they have the solution, and we are just the victims that are caught in the crossfires.
Spot on, Tiffany. You really hit the nail on the head. But I want to go back to what you were just saying, because you got my curiosity up when you were talking about the islands. What do you mean? Like, islands would be a perfect place to breed mosquitoes. I'm sure they're, islands and mosquitoes, I'm sure, synonymous with as like having a problem because you have so much water.
Well, they told me in my training that there are 26 species of mosquitoes in California. And so there were a variety of mosquitoes that would come out of the islands. And
what islands?
Okay, so I had Roberts Island, I had Upper and Lower Jones, I had Victoria Island, I had Union Island, I had Bacon Island, Mandeville Island, which is owned by one man, and Woodward Island, which is owned by the manager of mosquito and vector control. It's owned by his family. He owns that property out there, Woodward Island.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he has so many. Our manager. Again, first of all, mosquitoes have to have water to exist. Mosquitoes have to have water to exist. So our manager, not only is he managing mosquito abatement, he's also on the board of the irrigation. He's on the irrigation district board Plus, while he was on the irrigation board, he was in litigations with them over water rights. So he has his hands everywhere. There are so many conflicts. You know, his job is...
So he wants water rights, and yet he went and got himself on the board where he could influence policy on water rights.
But he's influencing policy every which way. I mean, his son, again...
To his benefit. To his benefit.
His son is a...
Sounds familiar.
his son is a distributor for Wilbur Ellis, a representative for Wilbur Ellis, which is one of the main chemicals that the Vector uses. So everywhere you go, he's got his hands everywhere. But they are supposed to, the number one thing that they are supposed to do is water reduction. They are supposed to reduce the irrigations out. So I had two different areas. Actually, I had three, but the two main areas I had were the islands, and the islands basically are man-made pieces of land. If we did not have generators pumping the water off at a rapid rate, they would be flooded. They're floodplains, and so what happens is when the moon is full, it raises the water table, and when the moon is like gone, or it's at a quarter thumbnail, the water level decreases, and so it'll be dry land, and so the water moves and flows with the movement of the moon. And so there'll be times where it'll be completely dry out there because the generators are working, and it's flatter area. Then you've got, like, around the ridges of the island. See, an island you can drive all the way around, and so these areas would be hard to get to, and so they'd create the one main mosquito.
And so you guys are going out to the island to spray pesticides.
I was sent out as a female to these islands by myself, which was a pretty dangerous job.
I would be scared to be out there in those desolate places by myself.
I wasn't when I had Supervisor A, the one who died, the real supervisor, the one who did his job. But what happened was Supervisor B, the one that
owns
should have
the
been
island,
permanent, the one he was sleeping with a girl that he was assigned to be monitoring, and so they had to move everyone around to accommodate this relationship. And so when he was put out there to monitor me, she didn't want him working with me, and so he didn't do his job. He didn't have to do his job, and neither did she. And so when we start talking about West Nile and we start talking about Zika, I just go, you know what, it's BS, because I witnessed people who did not have to do their job. I mean, they didn't have to do their job, period. I had a supervisor who did not have to monitor me, did not have to go out and do his job.
Well, it sounds like keeping this water keeping the water from certain areas was important to prevent mosquito breeding.
If you want to get rid of a mosquito, get rid of the water. So I know we were going to talk about Zika, but this, these
all of the different ones. To me, it's the same across the board. They're just trying to scare everyone. And then, it really frightens me in that commercial too, is they're talking about having children, getting pregnant. It's almost like they're using Zika as a population control method.
Well, what they're doing is using the pesticides as a population control.
Well, that as well, yeah, together with that, because Dr. Hayes says in 3 generations we're going to have mass infertility because of atrazine.
Okay, okay, so when I first was hired at Mosquito Abatement in 2001, there was a lawsuit that was a lawsuit. Let me slow down a little bit. A lawsuit that won, where the mosquito control, it was a lawsuit against the mosquito and vector control in New York because they were using 2 products, Anvil, they were using the Vectovac, and they were also using, which is a BTI. It's a this. Let me see if I can get this right. I'm going to have to look here. It's a bacteria, and
the BT.
The BT. It's called BTI, and it's called Bacillus
thuringiensis.
Yes. So in Israel. So supposedly it's some kind of bacteria that was some kind of spores that they bring from Israel. And but the one side effect that is known is it's a corrosive. It corrodes. The one girl who had a special spraying unit on her vehicle. We all drove around with 50-gallon tanks, so we could have 50 gallons of oil in our truck. We could have 50 gallons of herbicide in our truck. Any kind of pesticide you could think of, or herbicide, larvicide, we could drive around with that in our vehicle. Then we would have 50-pound bags of granules that we could also carry around. But one girl had a special unit that she was using, and it kept corroding. It kept having so many issues with it because she was using this BTI. But where I was going with that was they actually won their lawsuit in New York against mosquito and vector. Maybe before our next conversation, we can both look at that. I was just starting to look at it when I was on hold. But I was looking, to kind of refer back to it.
It sounds like a really important case because the person won against the Vector Department.
They did win, and
what was their basis of their lawsuit?
I'm gonna have to go back and look, but okay.
Did it have to do with fertility?
Hold on. The employees were told that it was safe to use, and I don't think that they were using protective equipment. And so what happened was. The vector control came back and they said you have to use gloves and you have to use a respirator. What did we have to use with it? We had to wear eyewear, a respirator, and they're spores. It's a bacteria spore.
So you probably have to cover your body, your skin as well.
Well, we didn't put anything on our face. I'll tell you what, that stuff would burn. Like I'd have to spray ditches. I'd have to spray dairy. So the dairy lagoons, there's so many sources, Elaine, that I wanted to kind of get into. So I started out on the islands, then I was put out into the agriculture area, and so I would have to spray ditches, and it would just be miles and miles of drainage ditches where the dairymen would release their dairy ponds into the to the roads, and so then we'd have to just spray that. The BTI it has such a quick kill rate. It kills so BTI kills first instar. Do you know about the instars in the pupa?
Well, I know with butterflies, but yeah, that's like so it has like the different stages, and that
of metamorphosis. So we have first through third stage, and that's when they're still eating. So and even toward the fourth, but by the fourth instar, they start to metamorphose into a pupa, and once they start to pupate, they stop eating. So the only way to kill them is while they're eating, and unless we use an oil when they pupate, and then we suffocate them. Which is actually, when I did it, I thought it was pretty cool to watch them, because you see them trying to get air, and they die. They actually die of suffocation, and it's kind of cool to watch.
Is that the same active ingredient that's in those dunks that people can buy at like Lowe's and Home Depot?
I just looked it up, and it's BTI. That's what they're selling at Home Depot and stuff.
Yeah, the dunks, and they have the crumbles, or they have the discs that you can just put right in a pond, and it is really effective. They found dead mosquitoes on the riverbank in Israel, and they looked inside their gut and found that bacteria, and it doesn't hurt anything else. It only hurts.
That's not true.
Oh, really? That's because that's. Please tell me how it does work.
Well, Well, I'm gonna, what I was starting to tell you how it
corrosive. That's something I never heard of before.
Yeah, multiple employees have eye corrosion. So, as the one girl
had eye cancer, one girl had eye cancer. You said.
Well, that it's the corrosion in the eye from the. I mean, we can guesstimate at what at at what things are. I'm not a scientist, but when you sit back and you see their equipment that is corroding and has to be replaced constantly when it's a brand new piece of spray equipment, then
you're thinking about your own body and like what is it, if it's doing that to this piece of equipment, what is it doing to my body?
Exactly. I wanted to also to point out that this is kind of we would have rinse water. So let's say there's all these different herbicides and pesticides that I can use. I can use oil, I can use the herbicides, and then I can use the larvicides, and I can use the adulticides. And but when you change from one to the other, like an oil to a water, they don't mix. And so you have to empty, the BTI, they say after 3 days, it doesn't work. It kind of just, it doesn't, the active ingredient is no longer active. So we would have a rinse tank where we would dump our water. And so we also had a 200-gallon tank that we would drive around with, and we'd spray with that during the fall and springtime. And so we would get this rinse water, and so you have 19 employees, and they need to dump their chemical. Sometimes you just spray it out on somebody's property. I mean, even if you didn't need to spray their property, but you needed to get rid of the chemical because you needed to use a different chemical, you would just spray it out at someone's property. But if you left it in over the weekend or whatever and you needed to change, we would dump it into rinse water. Then they would take all this rinse water, they'd put it in this 200-gallon tank, and they'd take it out to somebody's property and they would just dump it. And they'd call it rinse water.
Wow. And the fact that you have to, that's because we've talked out a lot about factory farms and the way their operations are with these huge excrement ponds where all of the pee and the poop from the factory farm go into these storage facilities. And you're saying that at some point some of these operations just kind of let that water go, which could be full of antibiotic resistant bacteria because they're feeding animals antibiotics all the time.
Absolutely. Oh, so I went from the islands. After I filed my sexual harassment complaint against this male employee supervisor who was not who actually got to keep his job, I was transferred under a different supervisor, and I was put out onto dairy property. And so I'd never been on dairies before, so this is what I saw at a dairy. The dairymen, their cows will be in the stalls, and yes, they pee and they poop at a pretty constant rate, and the milking cows. And so yes, they they need to be. Sometimes they artificially inseminate them, and then they use. I learned that they used the formaldehyde on their hooves because they get like hoof rot, and so all this excrement waste gets washed into these. They call them lagoons. And so when we were assigned to these properties, we were required to go to these lagoons and handle shit water. That's exactly what it was. It was, we're calling it excrement. Okay, excrement water. And they breed mosquitoes like crazy. Mosquitoes, they love dirty water. The ones that, they say carry the virus loves the dirty water. And the West Nile virus, specifically, that was the one that they said that they kill it. So I have a blog, and my blog is culex-pipian.com. And the reason why I picked Culex pipian is because Culex pipian is the mosquito that they told us carried West Nile virus. And so
Can you spell that so people can find your blog, Tiffany? Because we only have a couple of minutes left.
Minutes. I wish we had hours, because I just
know, but we're gonna keep talking about this, because every time I'm learning about something new and significant, and I want to ask you. I want you to spell that, and then I also want you to answer if you see any relationship between what you saw at these dairy farms and tie in irrigation and then lettuce that has E. coli on it. Do you see a relationship?
Okay. I can answer that. I can answer that 100% because I that's what I did. But okay, first of all, I need to clarify. 2 episodes ago, I was giving the name of a website that you can go to find out government employees' wages, and that is Transparent California, and I think I said something like Transparent America. So I wanted to correct that. It's
okay, Transparent California. Okay, that's good to know.
But my website is CUL as in Laura EXPIPIEN.com. Culex pipian, which is a northern house mosquito. That's so, and that's the dairy mosquito. That's a mosquito that you would find.
So do you see a link between what you see at the farms and how we end up with E. coli on our lettuce?
Well, I can tell you that you see a lot of, I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't know if illegal immigrants are the proper terminology, or you see lower waged people working on the farms and they don't always have bathrooms. You know,
so like that's adding to it even more, and we have compostable toilets, so that shouldn't even be a problem.
But like when I worked on the islands, I would see the employees out there, and they wouldn't have, they didn't have coverage, places to take breaks, not bathrooms, and plus, and if they lived on site, they don't always they just drain their sewage from the place that they're staying right there onto the property.
Okay, well, we got sewage coming from everywhere. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Tiffany, so much. And please go to BlueMonarchProject.com. Check out Tiffany's blog page and SmartHealthTalk.com. And, of course, you can find our podcasts on iHeartRadio. Thanks so much for tuning in to Smart Health Talk. We'll be back again. And thank you, Tiffany Anderson, for all your great information. And please join.
So, you want to be in show business. Do people tell you that you're really funny, you have a great personality, and you should have your own talk show? Many of us have been told that, but we don't know how to get started. It's easier than you think. Let the pros at Cali Vegas give you a free talent evaluation. Call 949-445-1119 and learn how quickly you can create, produce, and host your very own talk show. Imagine not having to sit in traffic every day, commuting back and forth to the same old boring job. Get started in television or radio today with your free talent evaluation from Cali Vegas. Call 949-445-1119 or visit them online at calivegas.com. Make your dream come true today and create your new career and learn how to become a television or radio star with the help of Cali Vegas. 949-445-1119. Call now.
KCAA Loma Linda, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and now 102.3 FM.
With the law and don't know what to do. Do you have a will or power of attorney question? Is your home being foreclosed upon and you don't know where to turn? Maybe you were given a contract that you don't understand. For freedom and a worry-free solution, call for Legal Shield today at 213-245-1305.